Hello, it's Hannah from Hannah's Decodes, and today I thought I'd share something I mentioned last time. I did a video, and it was about a kind of interesting little vision I had. And I'll just say, I haven't had many visions in my lifetime, but I've had a few, and I've also had a few little warning things that have been quite interesting. And when they happen, it's doesn't really blow me away as if, oh, this is amazing, I'm seeing something unusual. I'm really just basically quite interested in what I'm seeing. And I'm also a little bit of a doubting Thomas. When I was studying Tibetan Buddhism many years ago, I had a monk who was a teacher, and he said, be really careful when you have visions, because sometimes you have not so good intentioned entities pretending to be perhaps someone who's passed away or a guru that you follow or something like that. So, and that kind of sat quite strongly with me. I think I felt almost knew that a little bit. So whenever I see things, I find it really interesting, and I'm quite analytical, and I don't get blown away like, oh my God, I've seen a vision, must be Jesus coming or something. I don't really do that. So I'll tell you first of all a really interesting little premonition I had. Was when my first daughter, who was 6 weeks old at the time, she's now 30. And when she was 6 weeks old, we're driving down to a friend's family holiday house down on the south coast from Sydney. And we were getting to close to a small town called Milton. And the highway is only one lane going one way and the other lane going back. There weren't two lanes to overtake or anything. And we're coming to a sort of a hill, and I just kept having like a voice in my head. I didn't really hear it outside of my head, but in my head saying, slow down, horses ahead, slow down, horses ahead. And I kind of ignored it a little bit, and then I just thought I should slow down, because you could do 100 kilometers. The speed limit was 100 kilometers an hour, and then I thought I'll slow down and I got to about 70. And I had all these people or other cars behind me that were getting a little bit frustrated because I was going so slowly. And the car directly behind me was a big four-wheel drive and getting quite close to me. Anyway, I drove to the top of the hill, and just over the hill, there were three girls on horses crossing the road, and one girl had lost control of her horse, and it was rearing up in the middle of the highway, basically. And so I had time to swerve around the horse onto the dirt patch on the side of the road. And the other car behind me that was going, so it had time to swerve the other way and miss the horses. And the other two horses had crossed the road in time for us to get by. So had I not listened to that, I could have had a big horse and a young girl hit my car, and that would have been catastrophic for us all. So that was a really good lesson, I suppose, to listen to your gut and listen to your little voice sometimes, and respect it, and take action if you really think it's important. But this other little vision, so that's that one. So that's something I keep whenever we still go down the same area for holidays, our summer holidays. And whenever the kids are with me, I say, this is the hill where Rose was a baby. And I had the horses in my, slow down, horses ahead. So we talk about it quite a bit. So anyway, the other vision I was talking about was a couple of weeks ago. I see someone for my skin, and they use light therapy so my skin doesn't flare up. So I was having a skin treatment, and you get little goggles put over your eyes so you don't get the light in your eyes. And so I was there with my eyes closed, and I started seeing all this really bright, reddy pink light. And within that were lines of kind of like the seed of life. And then it started twirling, and all these kind of really interesting sort of sacred geometry started popping up. And I thought, well, this is really interesting. And I just kind of watched it in my head, all happening inside my head. And then the color changed to a kind of blue. It became more and more blue. And then there were clouds and kind of all these, it was kind of very, kind of almost a little bit biblical, or the white fluffy clouds. And then the sun rose from behind the clouds, and there was all these kind of long beams of light. And then from that light, there were these little kind of, they weren't, I don't know if they're like light angels. They weren't like big winged men and women with big wings. They were kind of like little dainty, light little head and these kind of little wings and a little kind of body that was seed shaped. And they came and were sort of floating at the corners of my vision almost, and one above and one below. So maybe about, I think, 6 of them. And then I thought, well, this is really interesting, and just kept watching it. And then the light changed again. And I think perhaps in my head, the light was changing because the light therapy for my skin also changes. And the color changed back to red, and things sort of got duller. They weren't as vibrant and bright. And then in my kind of right vision, kind of in my mind, there was a red crystal skull. And I thought, wow. And I was a little bit surprised at that, because I don't know. I know red crystal skulls have importance, and there's some ancient ones that are really important and special, but they've never really drawn me into them. I've always thought, oh, they're kind of whatever, and haven't had much interest. So I thought that was quite interesting. And so I've just been contemplating a little bit about what that is all about. And so I looked up crystal skulls, and often they contain a lot of knowledge and wisdom. So my interpretation so far is perhaps there's some perhaps earthly, with the color red, earthly wisdom coming my way, or something I can tap into, something along those lines. So that's, unless anyone else has some ideas, that would be quite interesting. But that was my interpretation about my little vision. But yeah, it was fun. It was really, really kind of cool to watch all this stuff happening. It was great. So things like that, I mean, some people don't see things at all, which is fine, and get feelings and intuitive feelings and emotions and stuff, which are just as valid and as important. But another thing I was going to mention today is this morning I got together with some friends of mine who we regularly get together and do meditation. And one of the women in our meditation group hasn't been well. She's recovering and looking great now. But so we went there and we did a group healing meditation for her. And I thought it would be nice just to do a little group healing if you'd like to, and join me, and perhaps you have someone or yourself who you feel might need some healing, and we can collectively kind of put some energy and good vibes into getting our friends and loved ones back on track. So what I thought we could do is perhaps some of the quantum touch method of the breathing in love and breathing out love, and sending that love to the person you're sending this healing to. And if you wanted to, I mean, it's up to you. You could have them in the future, sending them love in the future, but I kind of think it's really nice to do it now, and you might do this later anyway. So it's something you can come back to and do over and over again. So I thought that would be nice. The breath, the breathing in the love, and breathing out the love and sending the love. So you can send the love kind of through your hand, through your heart, whatever sort of feels palpable or good to you. So this morning when I did the meditation, it was quite interesting. The meditation went for about 10 minutes, and I did the quantum touch, just the love and the breath. And what else did I do? I wrote it down. So I did visualization. So I kind of pictured my friend in perfect health. And I also did theta healing, which is a healing modality I did a long time ago. So I was it's kind of unusual to explain, but you can subconsciously, within your mind's eye, kind of look into their body like an X-ray and scan the body to see where there's blockages and stuff like that. And often for me, when I see it, it's like a white shadow that pops up. And so I can focus on that and imagine it, visualize it shrinking if it's some kind of part of the body that needs healing. Visualize that area that's kind of enlarged or inflamed, shrinking. So that was really nice to kind of use all these different tools that I've learned over the years, and some of them I've made up, and kind of, yeah, and I think that's what we're doing these days, is really learning from different avenues and making things our own. So what we might do is we will just move the chair around a bit. So we'll do this, we'll make this a 10-minute meditation, healing meditation. I'm just going to put my timer on. No, that's my time. Timer. So, sorry, bear with me for a second. Okay. So we'll just do that for 10 minutes, and just if you get a little bit distracted and your mind wanders off in other directions, just gently bring your focus back onto the healing and the individual you're trying to assist. Okay, so getting comfy in your chair, feet flat on the ground, hands in your lap if that's comfortable, with your palms up. And just taking some nice, deep, gentle belly breaths. Okay, just start your breathing in love, breathing out love to the individual we're trying to assist. We'll do this for 10 minutes. Actually, it can even be yourself if you want to. So gently come back to the room you're in, wiggle your toes and your hands and your fingers. Hopefully we've done a little bit of healing for some friends and family. It's the classic distraction while I was meditating. I was thinking about my little vision under the lights with my goggles on. And thought I'm not really a fan of angels either. It's interesting how I got the angels and the crystal skull, that I'm kind of a little bit, oh, you know, what anyway, I mean, I have know lots of people who love angels and they're very important to them in their practice and everything, but it's not really my thing for some reason. And I suppose it's a bit like not liking the Beatles or something, which I don't. I don't really like the Beatles. But what I do love, and is probably one of my strongest spiritual practices, is walking. I walk most days on the beach barefoot and love walking in my garden barefoot. So it seems to be that contact with the earth that keeps me really physically balanced and spiritually balanced at the same time. Really works for me. So I think that's it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.